Welcome to day 4, and well done for making it this far. You might have noticed that the activities have got a little bit harder over the last couple of days, and today we're going to focus on perhaps what is one of the more challenging aspects of studying, which is practicing for tests and examinations. And a lot of students know they need to do it, perhaps don't put as much emphasis on it as they should do. So, is exam practice really that important? Because a lot of students might think that the reason they don't do so well in tests is because they don't understand the material, because they're not as clever as other people, or they didn't spend as much time on it. But imagine that you had to do a dance performance. There are lots of things that can influence your success in this. You might have more or less natural ability as a dancer. You could have a different fitness level. And of course, the choreography might impact the outcome. But what you do know is that you would never put on a dance performance without practicing to the music. And this is where so many students go wrong. They spend so much time learning the choreography and learning the steps, but they're not applying it to the music that will be playing or the room that they will be in. They are not thinking about applying their learning to the real life situation of the exam. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of studies that indicate that on average, the main indicator of success in an exam setting is not intelligence, and it's not even how long students study for or how hard they work. It's how much time they spend practicing the conditions for the exam or test itself. I'm going to reiterate that. Exam success is not mainly indicated by intelligence or hard work, but by simply how much time you spend practicing exam questions. So yeah, it's important. And of course, we have the saying, practice makes perfect. So, does it make perfect? You may be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I spend so long on practice questions and I'm still not getting the results I want. So, we can use the dance analogy again here. Apologies, but I'm a keen dancer. If you practice the wrong steps over and over again and no one corrects you, then practice is not going to help, it's going to make you worse. So I do have loads of students who tell me they do lots of exam practice questions, but they're not always getting results. And that's because of 4 common mistakes that we'll look at in turn. Problem number 1 is too much too soon. So exam practice is important, but you need to be doing lower stakes retrieval practice before you can go straight into it. So if you don't remember anything about a topic, then you've got nothing to refer to in your brain. And if you go straight into exam practice questions at that point, you'll end up just having to go back and look things up. That's really time inefficient, but it also means you're not practicing under exam conditions because you have to keep stopping and starting and checking your notes. And it's also going to just make you more stressed because you're going to realize how much you don't know. And being stressed is not good for learning. So you need to be out of your comfort zone, but not panicking. Opposite problem, of course, is too little, too late. So this is why it's important to keep up with our note making and retrieval practice all the way through the course. Lots of students have the really best intentions and maybe set out a revision timetable to prepare for exams, but they dedicate loads of time to going over topics and not enough on the practice questions. And this leads you to thinking you know the content because you've gone over the topics, but actually when you hit the test, it's like the questions were you're completely unprepared for them. Problem number 3 is unrealistic conditions. So, retrieval practice and exam practice are not the same thing. When you do retrieval practice, you're just practicing recalling the information. And exam practice is a separate activity. and you need to practice it in as close to the real life conditions as will be possible. So it's even more important to have no distractions and to try the questions under timed conditions. When you get closer to a full exam, maybe a mock or an end of year exam, instead of just a short topic test, make sure you practice mixed questions, because a lot of students, again, will revise a topic and then only answer questions on that topic. And that's not normally how exams are laid out. There's normally a mixture. And problem number 4 is you've done your notes, you've done your retrieval practice, you sat down for an hour to complete a practice paper. You need to now get the feedback on what you did. If you're really lucky, someone will mark it for you, but the chances are most of the time when you're studying on your own, you'll have to use the mark scheme to check for yourself. And it's really vital that you make the most of this process. You should basically give it almost as much time as you do the actual practicing of the answering, especially at the start. You should be really strict with yourself. Don't be generous with your marking. Look for the parts of the mark scheme that say things like reject or ignore. If you didn't get the mark, did you understand why? Was it completely wrong? Did you misinterpret the question? Or was it just marginal and you just need to improve your technique next time? So, today's challenge. You're going to split it roughly equally between doing some exam practice questions, for which you can find many online on websites such as Physics and Maths Tutor, Maths Made Easy, all sorts, or just the exam board website. And try and spend maybe 60% of the time doing the questions and 40% of the time going through them. Use questions on something you've already revised or something you've covered recently. So we're not doing retrieval practice. We're not trying to pull out something from months ago. That's not going to be very efficient. Answer as many questions as you can under the exam conditions for the time that you have. And then as you go through the mark scheme, you're going to make notes to give yourself feedback. And I provided a good template sheet that you can have a look at, some questions to ask yourself as you go through the questions that you answered. Or you can work out your own system, but it's really important that you start to really look closely at mark schemes and see where they can really benefit you.